Greetings, Boris and Ghouls, and happy 4th of July. Today we're going to be doing something that is both prehistoric and patriotic. So I guess it's prehistoric patriotic. Alright, what we're going to be using today is we're going to start with some Sculpey. This stuff. Good stuff. It's going to take a few minutes, as you remember. It gets crumbly until you get it worked in. I'll have to pull my ring here so I don't get clay in my ring, because I don't want that happening. Now we got to keep this from crumbling all the bits while I'm getting it together. So. Alright, now we got it all through the magic of video. We've now got it to where this clay is now pliable. So what we're going to do is I'm going to probably pinch off some of this, because I'm probably going to use it for some other stuff too. I don't want it being overly huge. Dimetrodon was not all that big. Now this is not a true dinosaur. This is a pelcosaur, which basically what they call a mammal-like reptile. So being more lizard than anything else in the way at least when the way he looked, he really wasn't a lizard, but he's very lizard-like in many ways. We're going to see if we can pull him off here. Let's give him a little more headroom. And I pulled off the clay because, like I said, one advantage of this kind of clay over like Marblex, which is an air dry that I used to use a lot of. I don't use it so much now. I've got some still and I need to use it, but this stuff is so much more user friendly. Kind of probably have to beef his jaw up just a hair. And you got to remember there's going to be this huge spine on his cell on his back, so we kind of got to pull that up just a piece. He had a really huge cell on his back, so I'll probably end up having to maybe even make the cells separate. Right now he looks more like an Edaphosaurus. So we're going to tear some of this off here and make this part make some more cell, because then I got to do some work on it. So I don't want it being quite so thin. Being quite so thin, not so good. Because for one thing, it'll be hard. It'll be risk getting all knocked around. I won't be able to work on it. I got to put some ribs on it, because basically what this is extensions of the vertebra. So it's going to be a bit tricky. Now I can also tear some of this tail off, because his tail's not quite that big. And it didn't quite go up that far, so I can push some of this up just a piece and kind of smooth it out around its edges. Hopefully my reach did not extend my grasp here, but we'll find out. So I'm going to have to, I can push it up a little bit and see if I can maybe get where I'm kind of wanting with it. Now I'm going to give him a little bit of a spine coming down here. As you can see, he's already got one up here, and I need to kind of smooth off the top of his head. We'll level that out here in a sec. That's pretty decent. I'm going to put him with his head slightly turned. The color scheme's going to be a little bit off. I'm not going with too much in the way of realism today. Like I said, it's going to be a patriotic. It's going to be a patriotic Permian predator. Try saying that 3 times fast. Alright, let's go ahead and put him into, start using this to kind of work in our ribs, because like I said, he's kind of got the spines on his back were basically extensions of the backbone. Now some people have reconstructed him with the spines literally sticking out, and I'm going to try maybe a little bit of that, but I can't guarantee I'll be able to do it all the way, but we will try it. So this kind of, I'll have to maybe use some means of maybe pinching it down and then cutting it just a piece. try that and see how that works. See how that works out for us. Alright, now. So the sail's going to be a fairly delicate business, it is. So, and I'm going to tell you, probably not going to have as many spines on his back as the historical Dimetrodon, but I'll do my best. So I'm not really, like I said, you got to remember, basically he is I believe a synapsid, which means that taxonomically and anatomically speaking, he was more like us than like Tyrannosaurus or Steg. He was technically what they call a mammal-like reptile. There's a lot of different thoughts as to what he was using this cell for. I've heard everything from, let's see, I've got his cell on this side. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to do it on this side. Now I could have went in and put in some spines or something and used that, but that's really not kind of how I roll, so I'm going to have to do it from this side as well. Make sure I've got it lined up, and because I really don't want to have to. So I'm going to do my best to kind of give him some spines. Now I may end up having to use a little bit of clay to kind of flesh it back out. Not exactly what I had in mind, but we'll make it work if we got to do it this way. So let's go ahead and do it this way. Let's see now. I'll have to check, we'll see what the camera is. I usually end up going, when I start doing these kind of videos, they take me a little time. So there we go. Now, just kind of trying to get this together. I'll try to give him a little bit of a spiny sort of deal going on here. I can't promise it'll look 100% like I want it, but we'll do our best. What I'm a little worried about is structurally is what's going to happen when I'm trying to bake this. Is it going to crack on me? Now, now the legs were slightly splayed out, and we'll get to that here in a minute. And he would have had, I think, like 5 sharp toes or something. Little sharp claws. Now, it's interesting, there must have been something weird in the environment during the Permian, because he wasn't the only cell-backed reptile hanging about. There was another pelcosaur like him called the Edaphosaurus, but the Edaphosaurus seems to have been a plant eater. Now, let's kind of straighten this up. Now, I could have put an armature or something in there, but it just seems like a lot of issue here. Now, I'll have to find a way to keep him upright while I'm doing this, because I really don't want him falling over. I really do not want him falling over. Alright, let's go ahead and make his legs, because that's how it's going to have to hold him up. Well, maybe laying him over is not a bad idea. Getting the sculpting tool out of the side of his face might be a good idea, though. Now, we're going to make his front leg first. Now, like I said, he's got 5 toes, I believe. Anybody that knows anything about dinosaurs can correct me if I'm mistaken, I'm not above being wrong. It's interesting to note that when most kids buy a dinosaur set, they actually get at least one or two animals that are not dinosaurs per se. And Dimetrodon is usually one of them. But actually, as I said, he predates the dinosaurs by a while. So, probably only going to have the 4 toes. I think he had 5, but I'm going to give him 4 here because, well, I might be able to give him a 5th. Let's see. It's not perfect, but we'll go with that. It kind of works out. Trying to even it up just a bit now. I'm going to come in over here and let's attach it now. Like I said, they've got his leg splayed slightly out, but I don't want to put him out like a lizard's because I don't think he was quite that far out. I really don't. And this is my interpretation, so I can get away with it. It's not like there's a museum waiting to fire me if I do it wrong. So, I'm going to do it like so. So I'm going to put one of his feet forward like this. Now, let's go ahead and make the musculature for the other side. And hopefully I'll have enough clay to make this happen. Tear off just a piece here. Because I'm see what I can do. Now, I may have to get a little bit of that back. Okay. Now, let's see what we can do. First thing we got to do is kind of flatten up here at the shoulder. I'm going to bring his leg back just a hair. Like he's in mid-stride, and I think that'll be cool. Now, come over here, we're going to cut down some toes. If I can avoid cutting his toes off, which would not be fun for him, I'm sure, any more than it would be for me. Now, right now he just looks like he needs a manicure. So let's see what we can do. I have to splay them out just a hair. Now then come in and do this. Maybe get a different tool so it's not quite so sharp. I don't want to cut them. I'm just trying to press them. Don't cut off his toes. Now, kind of. Just kind of. If you're having to do this on this, just kind of vaguely sort of pin that. Use your blade sideways if you have to kind of the flat of your knife to kind of press out your shape, and that'll work. It's not like really that great, but it'll do its job. Now, we pick up our Dimetrodon. Like I said, I'm going to do something a little bit different with the color because I'm going to put a red, white, and blue color scheme on him. A very much American flag derived color scheme, and that's because tomorrow is the 4th of July, so, and this is more art than it is science at this point, even though I want my dinosaur to be accurate as far as his basic form. I don't really worry too much about his paint, about his coloration, because I'm going to be, like I said, painting him red, white, and blue. It's going to be a red, white, and blue Dimetrodon. Now, see, he's going to be kind of up like that. I don't want him flat down on his body. And I'll probably put a little bit of a gut on him because, you know, he just is what he is. Now, we'll give him a slightly bigger back leg. Because he'll have I'm sure he'll have a slightly beefier back than he would up in the front. Now, since he's got that leg forward, we need this one pushed back a piece. So what I'm going to do is I need it pushed back like so. Now we're going to come in with our tool and hopefully not mangle his foot up, because that would not be fun for him or us. 2, 3, 4. Now do this once more. 5. Now let's see if we can kind of press it in and grab us a tool to kind of do this, and I want to get something maybe that's not quite, yeah, that'll do the job, not quite as beefy as a sculpting blade. That'll work. Now, let's go ahead and put his back leg on him. So I want his back leg kind of back like that, just a piece. And I might even come in, if I don't think there's enough hip muscle or joint muscle, I'll probably come in and add a little bit around it to kind of flesh him out just a hair. That's the reason I got out more clay than I needed. I'm going to tell you, he's going to have a little bit of an indentation right there. And that's fine. Now, actually, he's coming along nicely. Now, turn him this way, because we got to make his other leg. Now, this leg I'm going to make a little bit more up front. So put him over here for a minute, and keep his structure from falling in on itself. We'll have to do something about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and kind of bend it forward. And kind of flex it just a hair. Now, come in here, and where's my pointy thing? Here it is. Two, three, four, and I need one more. Now, should have done this with the pokey thing to begin with, because that was pretty effective at doing what I needed it to do. Now, let's go ahead and put the basic structure into place. Then we can work on some detailing, the eyes, nose, mouth, etc., ad nauseum. Now, I kind of want his foot up like that. Now we're going to come in underneath the belly and pull up some of this so that we can. Now, I could have put him on an armature and probably got away with it, because this is Sculpion that's going to end up baking it anyway. But now, let's go ahead and kind of do that. Now, the structure is kind of where I want it now. See how he looks now. I'll probably have to figure out a way to put him in with something underneath him. I'm going to give him a little bit of a gut underneath, and hopefully his legs will hold him up while I'm getting him baked. So let me see how many minutes we got left. We got a minute left. I'm going to go ahead and